So hi everybody and welcome back to our C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 326, and in this video we continue with our exercise, and we stopped in our last video with the properties. We finished this, and now we are here on the X value categories, and of course I will ask you again questions. We are here on number 27. You can stop the video, answer it as good as you can, and then continue the video and see my answer. And of course I will not pause the video. So first of all, let's read here the question here again. AM, we know this already, a.m. When is this a x value? Because we have this already with a PR value and even with a L value. And now you should decide when this is a x value, and then you should make here a code example. So again, pause the video, try if you want. If not, just watch what I have to say now. I jump to my answer here, and here, first of all, it says where a, this is our first part, is an R value, okay, and M is a non-static data member of an object type. So this is the thing which we have to create for our code example. Let's jump to a code example and see if we can create something like that. And here is number 27. So here I have just an integer, and this is my telephone number, and I'm assigning to my telephone number something, and about this something we have to talk. So first of all, it says here create as, and now you should see that this is a function, and you can see this by this this light yellow color here. It's an indicator. If not, you can just hover your mouse over it, and then or just jump to the definition or so. And okay, this is a function call. This is good. But I think we have not talked too much about why I have here a function call with a dot. I mean, we had most time just a function call, but what is this dot and my number now? And when you see something like that, you have to remember this is only possible when this function call here returns a reference to an object. So let's jump to this function and watch this, how this is done. So first of all, here is this function create as. Important is here, I have here an object as the return class, right? This is just our return type. And then in this function here, I have nothing, then return. And then I have this one, and we have talked about this one in our last video a little bit, but let's go through this again. First of all, what I'm doing here. First, we see this word test. What is this test? It is a class in my case. You see the class test is here, a very simple one. And then we have here in curly braces 10. First of all, what is that what I'm doing here? Overall, I'm creating an object. Okay, we learned this, but we learned also, wait a minute, where is the name of the object? It is an anonymous object because it has no name. And very important is also a temporary object because we are just creating it here. And this temporary object will be returned. Okay, so we're returning here an object. This is the first thing what we have to know. The second thing, which can be a little bit confusing for beginners, is that here what I'm doing here. So why is this 10 confusing? Normally it's not confusing. You say this is just an argument 10, right? Then you jump into the class 10 and see the constructor with 10, where it takes an int, for example, right? But when we jump now to my class test, wait a minute. Where is the constructor here? Here is no constructor. And this is a special case. I think we have not talked about this. And this case is a special initialization. It's called the aggregate initialization. I show you this one now here. We will talk this again, or I don't know if we have. Then this side is very important yeah, we will talk this in future, I think. But the most important part here to know is an aggregate initialization can initialize a member. In my case, my example here, I have here int my number, for example, with the argument which you pass here, and that will initialize it in the order which you have here. For example, if you have here 10, let's say I have here two variables, then this 10 will be applied on the first one and then the next one. But not every class can be an aggregate. Also, it's not possible to make an aggregate initialization, and the reason for that is you have to follow some properties, and which are here listed, and I will not go over that because that we will do when we talk about the aggregate initialization. But you have to know one thing: a user-defined constructor should not exist. This is one of the most important part, and there are other parts as well, like base class and virtual base classes and so on. But most important, if there should be not provided a constructor, and in my class test you can see I have not provided a constructor, which means the aggregate initialization, which is doing by this function call, yes, that's happening here. And let's go back to our code again, and you can see the function call here is creating now this anonymous object, and because it is an anonymous object, I still can use now the dot, because I have an object now as a return value, right? And I'm taking my number, and my number was overwritten with 10. So let's watch this again fast. So you can see I have here 10, and 10 will be this number here, the first one variable. If there is a second one, like I said, it's not that, it starts with the first one. And then here it will return, no, not return, it will, the whole thing will be then assigned to the int. And now it makes sense. We have here a int type. This one will return a int, and the whole thing is an x value. So the question is, wait a minute, why is this an x value now? Again, here we create an anonymous type, and then the anonymous type is accessing a member, and we have talked a little bit about this one also in the last video. There can be a materialization, right? A temporary object, and then it will set the value, this result here, to also it is binding the result of this one to this int here. And yeah, that was this. So I explained again everything step by step a little bit. I hope it was clear before. If not, then it should be clear now. We can go a little bit further, I think, and when we jump first back to our site, and here we will skip a little bit again. So for example, this one, I already talked about this one. This is a pointer to member of object. Careful, this is not a normal pointer, which we learned till now, I think, the normal pointer, but not pointer to member of object. This has here a little bit special rules, but not too wild. And this one also, we skip this one too. This is a comma operator, very important, not the normal comma which we use to separate something. It is an operator. Operator means the compiler is doing math, and it says, okay, I evaluate this first, then I evaluate this one, and then I take the second one, or something like it, depends on the evaluation. And yeah, important here is this as an operator, it's not that much used, but when it's used, but let me show you, there is a special case. But when it's used, you need to know this. Let me see if I can show you that, because that can already create big confusion. Okay, I can't see it right now, but especially in parameters, it can occur. Okay, we'll skip now. That's too big now to go dive into this one. But this comma operator can confuse you in parameters. So when you have here round bracket, and then it can happen that this let's say this is a variable, this one also, this one is also enclosed in round brackets, and then it is this comma operator, not a separator. But yeah, we skip that for now, just to know a little bit. But this one we already know, and we skip not this one here, the ternary conditional expression. Yes, let's do this one. So you can see here is this ternary operator, and here I ask you, can be this an x value? Probably, so I answer it was in the x value category, so it can be an x value. But now make a code example, and here actually you don't have, oops, Control Z, you don't have to make, also try to make a code example. If you find one is good, because here you have to research again. Why I'm saying you have to research again? First of all, here is the question. Yes, it can be an x value. Read the conditions again, and again, we had this ternary operator already in other places as well. But if it's an x value, it depends what these variables are here, right? And I said we have no time now to go all over this condition, because when you read here the conditional operator, here it starts, and you can see this is a lot of conditions. Sometimes is a PR value or an x value, and then you have to find when it's an x value. One good way is when you have something like that, you press Control F for search, and then you write here let's say x value, and then it jumps most time to the place where it could be, and then you read a little bit there around, and then perhaps we have some more hits, and then go to the next one, and so on. So you can see it can be, and then yeah, you read this for your own a little bit, because if we dive to this ternary operator, we have to go actually over all this kind of stuff, and this takes a lot of time as well. So it can be an x value, but this one is more for, let's say, for intermediate, because you have to learn to go through all the examples again and see when it's done, and the best way is to do again code examples. So I think I stop here for this one, and in the next video we will finish some of the other ones. So if you have any questions, like all time, write in the comment section. See you in the next video. Bye, and like all time, have fun and never give up.